Welcome to the Miami Heat post-game podcast. I am your host, not Giancarlo Naves. Siobhan Beslow here with two of my faves. Gave G the day off, getting to chop it up with, like I said, two of my faves. To my left, I don't know where she is on you guys' screen. To my left, we got my dog Tiffany. To my right, Franky joined in with us. What's up, you guys? How you feeling? just off the bat. Franky, how you feeling?
I feel decently. I had a great weekend. Got to see a lot of loved ones in Miami. Shout out to Natalie and Nolan for a great wedding. Always great to visit Miami. I miss it, and it always reminds me I would never live there again.
Tiff, how you feeling?
Tired. A lot of trick or treating last night.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I guess it was trick or treats tonight too.
Listen, it's a whole lot of tricks.
It was more tricks than treats. And not the type of tricks, and not the tricks I like to see.
Except for kids, people, okay? Let's just look right into it. Tonight, we were still short some people. Well, actually, we got Haywood back, right? We got Bam back tonight. Mm-hmm. Jimmy was there. Caleb's still out, And the starting lineup I thought was a little bit interesting. We went Kyle, Tyler, Jimmy, Bam, Jaime. And I have my thoughts, and just to start us off, I want to know what both of you guys' thoughts were with the starting lineup, and do you think it had trickle-down effects to some of the other groupings we saw tonight? Tiff, start me off.
Yeah. So I would have personally liked to have seen Haywood, Hamish out there in the starting lineup. And I thought he might be on a minutes restriction, and maybe that's why we didn't see him in the starting lineup. He did play a lot, so I don't, I don't know what that was about. But putting JJJ out there, you took him away from the second unit. And you put him in a position, to me, that's just not his position. He's not a spot up shooter. He's not I'm going to stand in the corner and shoot the three. He plays a lot like Jimmy. Give him in the short post, let him cut to the basket. A lot of the things that we've seen him be good at the last couple of games, he didn't get to be good at tonight. He's not, unless somebody relinquishes something, he will never be a star in his role with these players. Mm-hmm. He needs to be with that second unit to do that. So taking him away from the second unit, you took away, and it's interesting, you took away a ball handler. And all I've heard off season is, we don't need a point guard, we need ball handlers. And I feel like, but people who use that phrase don't really know what point guards do. So we're gonna
get into that.
I'm just saying. So I don't want to be too long-winded. I'm gonna let Franky tag in at this point.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tiff. With Kevin missing tonight, it would have been nice to see Highsmith get the start. He did play 22 minutes, which Hawkes is on a minutes restriction too, and Highsmith played more than him. And he shot the ball really well. He's continued to shoot the ball really well. Defensively, was active. It was hard for in a lot of the lineups he was in to make up for what was missing. But I would have rather seen Highsmith or Jovic in there. We talked on the timeline a little bit about what Jovic brings. He brings a little chaotic energy, but that's something that the teams kind of needed. It's like a wild card. They need something his positives are pushing the pace, pushing the tempo, moving the ball, able to hit the spot up while still having enough size to help at the rim and make plays defensively. He's not there yet defensively, but he can bring a little chaoticness that you need some nights. And I think they were really missing that. You mentioned Hawkes being the spot up guy in that lineup. It really made the bench lineup miss the ball handling guy and the playmaking guy. I felt overall he did a good job defensively. He did a good job. His shot wasn't falling, but I just think he wasn't in the best position to be successful tonight.
I think for me, mechanically, the one thing I didn't like about Hawkes' shot is it didn't have a snap. Like, it felt really floaty. There was no pop in the wrist. There's no there wasn't a burst upward. It was kind of one smooth motion, and you want that, but he came up short on his shots a lot. And I think a little bit of a snap, a little bit of a pop in his shooting motion. I think he sees, a few more of those go down. Tiff, I love what you said about without someone else in the starters relinquishing something, he's not going to star in that role. And I think that's 1,000,000% correct. We talked all last season and all the time about how, Jimmy and Bam get in each other's way, right? And then you throw another baby Jimmy in there,
Right.
without a Duncan, without a Max. Kyle is doing. Shout out to Kyle. We'll touch on him a bit too, but it's just so tight in there, and you don't get to see Ame kind of be the hub and play make and these things. And then, like you guys have said, we go to the second unit, and that's kind of what they're missing. There's so many kind of periods of stagnancy and just dead ball, no action with the second group. And you think that if you had a Triple J out there, he fits better with that group, and then he can also help juice that group himself. Franky, you said, and you touched on it a little bit. I just want to ask you to a little bit more. Jovic brings a little bit of chaos, and I know he's still young. He still has a lot of things developmentally to kind of get to, right? Has to be better in the drop. Has to get laterally more quick. Get his full NBA strength right. But what is the chaos, and why is it a good thing with this group with regards to like pace and stuff like that?
One of my biggest issues with the first unit, and I think Kyle's the only one that amongst the regular starters, because it's the Bam, Jimmy, Bam, and Kyle, and then whoever the fifth guy is usually Kevin. But Kyle's the only one that really moves the ball and tries to get the ball moving, like everybody to touch the ball. Jimmy, it's catch and hold. Bam, it's catch and hold. Tyler, it's catch and hold. Jovic understands a little bit more of like how to play basketball, like without the ball and like move the ball, move off the ball, cut. Like a lot of times, Jimmy and Bam, and we talk about, like you mentioned, they get in each other's way. A lot of the reason is because instead of like cutting through, they cut and seal,
cut and stay,
and they're just bringing their defender to the help and making it easier for them to help because they're not an option offensively off the ball. But Jovic, he could space the floor. He's much more comfortable as a catch and shoot guy. Jaquez in college was on the ball a lot. He was much better shooting off the catch, but it wasn't enough reps where he's like automatic with that. That wasn't his role. It was like, oh, I can hit the catch and shoot three. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna hit 2 or 3 of these a night and you can't leave me open from catch and shoot. But Jovic brings things that the starting lineup is missing. It's not to say he's going to be the answer every night or great every night or even good every night. He pushes tempo. He brings energy. You saw the Milwaukee game at the end. He was a big reason. Just a little short stint, brought energy, pushed the pace, pushed tempo. Let's hit ahead. Let's look for easy baskets. A couple easy ones when it's difficult to score in the half court.
I agree. Tiff, you have anything?
No, I think that it's a catch-22. I'm like looking at some of the comments in the chat, and it's like you don't want this guy, but like you have to be realistic and look at your roster. This is who you got.
You don't want who? You don't want who?
No, I'm saying I'm talking mainly to like some people in the chat that are like, it's who you're gonna play. Like this is where we are now. Like these young guys got to play because this is who's on the team. Right. Yeah, he didn't. No, JJJ had a horrible shooting night, but I don't think any of those shots were really ideally his shot.
Right. Yeah.
He hasn't been hoisting 3-pointers.
Like, and they weren't bad shots.
No, they were all good shots. They're just not his shots.
In the flow of the offense.
And we also have to also understand that like there is something about that the feel that you get before that 3-point shot goes in. He didn't get the easy look. No one set him up for a layup. No one set him up to cut to the basket. Like he never got an easy attempt to even see one go through the hole. Mm-hmm. So he was shooting blindly. And the opposite end, he did everything he could on defense. Like that's the one thing I will say. He literally had Ben Simmons standing straight up
Listen, he stood him up like 2-3 times. Yep. I tweeted he had him behind bars. Franky was like, I never heard that before. He had been in jail like a good chunk of time.
Yes, he did.
So back with the second unit a bit, and Tiff, kind of to your point about the point guard. I've been someone who said that Miami doesn't run a point guard centric, a point guard heavy offense. And what I've meant by that is it's whoever brings it up, you make that first pass or whatever. And then you make the pass, you relocate, you get into your spot, you either get in the corner, you get inside of one of these screens, you go do the other things. They don't run a bunch of point guard dominant pick and roll, dribble weaving kind of actions or whatever. Now, just because that is, what they do or have done or can do doesn't mean that they don't have space for more traditional or kind of an actual type of table setter. So Tiff, where's the line, but what would a point guard, a table setter, however you want to describe it, what does that do for this group, the second group, namely, and where does it kind of ease up some of their dead spots?
So there's like two things. The second unit is typically your guys who can do a few things, but can't really do a lot of things on their own, right? All right. So you need that point guard for that. But what's more concerning, because we saw it all last year, is that around that 3-minute mark in the fourth quarter, where the game slows completely down, and you need heady plays. You need you need plays where someone has thought about this 3 minutes ago, what they need to do. And I can give you 2 instances tonight. First, Jimmy takes the 3-pointer, which was ill-advised, but it's such a Jimmy shot. The fact that we know it's a Jimmy shot don't make it right. It's still wrong.
Important caveat.
Right. And then the next possession, Jay Rich takes a 3. You really have missed all your shots tonight but one. It was ill-advised.
And that's not your game.
It's not your game. You had time left on the shot clock to get a better shot. And honestly, I don't want you taking that shot at that point in the game. Yeah. Unless you're getting to the hole. Like, that's his game. Is dribbling in, trying to get a layup, or whatever it is he needs to do. But in those moments, you need somebody to slow it down, let everybody get settled. And if they need to, you can hunt the mismatch, because it is a perfect time for Jimmy or Bam to get somebody in a mismatch. Or to get Tyler coming off the wing or something like that. But shooting those quick threes, those are the reasons you need that one guy who has played the position, not because they can dribble. We keep losing the connection between the brain and the hand.
Franky, point guard versus ball handlers, and Miami's issue with it.
Like you mentioned, the Heat run a lot of pistol action where they hit ahead to the wing guy and they cut through to the corner or clear it out so they can run an empty side pick and roll. But it's not always what they should do. Like, it's a lot of what I call the 18-eye offense, because it's 18 eyes on the ball. Nobody else is moving. And
I love that.
It drives me nuts. Because it helps the defense, because none of the offensive guys are moving off the ball, and it makes it real easy to defend. Because if anybody's moving, they're involved in the play. They're on the ball, and that's all you got to pay attention to. And when you play lengthy defenders, like the Nets, like the Celtics, like they can throw a lot of length at you, and they can deflect passes, get strips. It's not, and it makes the offense guys a lot easier. So when you don't have, but I mean, it's a product of what they have too.
Right.
Like you don't have a lead ball handler who can like pick his spots and pick his teammates' spots, who consistently can make reads like that. Like Jimmy is a really good passer, but he's feeling out so much. He plays like bullshit most of the time in the regular season. Like he's feeling his own shots. He over aggressive. There was a play early on where he took an early, like there was like 12 seconds left on the clock. He took a fadeaway post up jumper, double teamed, and Tyler was like within eyesight of a skip pass on the weak side for a wide open three in rhythm. Yeah. He already hit a couple. And it's stuff like that, and Tyler and Bam are still working that balance out between when do I play make, when do I be aggressive with my shot. And that's a problem for both of them. Tyler was a little bit better tonight, 5 assists, still had 3 turnovers. And he needs to show, like, if you want to be an on-ball, like, offensive unit, like the Trays, like the Lucas, it's the assists that are also the weapons. It's not just the scoring. And they don't have that guy who can do it both. Like, it's great for Tyler to develop that. Like, we would love for him to develop that. But they just don't have enough of that right now in the offense. Yeah, they don't have any of that in the offense. Right?
Yeah. And Franky, you threw it in the chat, and I'm happy you did. I want to give love to Brooklyn. They fought back, down 16. I think they did some of the things that they did that, first of all, Armani Brooks lit us up.
That's you know who that is? You know RDC World?
No.
Oh, RDC World. They do a bunch of online sketches. They do like the J. Cole skits, NBA skits. They do the LeBron tirade after the game, locker room stuff.
Okay, yes.
That's them. That's his cousin.
I'm weak. That's so funny.
Armani was a plus 30 in 16 minutes.
Cooked.
They did a bunch of just like bunch screening, just like triple, just bunching on the wing. We can't really navigate through trying to get hands out. And he's just like 2 feet behind that bunch, just, kind of knock him down.
Yo,
go ahead. Take your time.
Man, because we got to like acknowledge that like the Heat don't have anyone that cooks. Like they just
Tyler
don't.
Cooks? What do you mean? People will tell you Tyler cooks. People will tell you Tyler cooks.
There's a difference between I can score and I can cook. Yeah. Like there is a fundamentally different feeling that you get when one person is scoring and another person is cooking. A guy that cooks is closing the door on you.
Yeah. He's like he's doing it in a burst. Like Armani, he went 5 of 6 from 3. 6 of 7 from the field. Like it's quick, it's efficient. It's not repeatable. That's why those are microwave guys. But like Tyler can do it in a burst. Like he's gonna that first half he was cooking. Second half not so much.
Here's the problem. And agree with me or not agree with me. When Tyler was 6-man, he could cook.
You have the space to cook.
Now that you're a starter, he doesn't realize you got to do this for 4 quarters.
He's got to do more.
You got to do it for 4 quarters. You got to space it out, and you got to have that reserve tank when it's 3 minutes left.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think Tyler paces himself well. At least not yet. Not in this role. He hasn't found his pacing. Yeah.
Right. He's still learning.
Super is. I also thought Spo's rotations, not aside of the spotations, right? Is so affectionately called. Aside of Jovic not seeing any minutes, I think it's felt like the first half, right? So it's the starters, then the second unit, and it feels you got to do more than average 30. I'm not sure what you get.
I don't understand that.
Are you questioning Tyler because you think he's averaging 30? Hit us back.
Right, because somebody said we asking him to do too. Oh, what we're asking Tyler to do more? Yes. What I mean?
I'm sorry, guys. If you guys want Tyler to be an all-star, he's not playing all-star caliber. He's shooting
Like I don't understand what's happening. When you want the fame, the acclaim, and the money, and you're starting, people are supposed to ask you to do more when you're 1 and 4, 1 and 5.
And it's tough because we can't act like Jimmy hasn't been not playoff Jimmy, not talking playoff Jimmy. He hasn't been regular season Jimmy, and so I think there is something to say for. There's space to kind of want a bit more out of Tyler, or at least a bit differently but you also can acknowledge that the people or like the main dude that he's supposed to be running with, who to kind of help him have himself paced out, hasn't held up his kind of end of the bar.
Jimmy's been hot garbage. We could say it. It's okay. Jimmy been hot garbage, and until Jimmy becomes some semblance of himself, Tyler got to do more. Like, it's okay. Bam's got to do more. Tyler's got to do more. Kyle's got to do more. Like, people have to do more. What do they think's going to happen? You think you're going to make the playoffs playing like this? No. Yeah. Somebody's got to step up until Jimmy can step up. We've acknowledged he's hurt, and we've also acknowledged he likes to fuck around. But
and that's why they're complicit. That's why Bam, Tyler, all these guys need to do more, because they accept, because we all accept that Jimmy can bullshit when he wants to.
Yeah. So for me, Spo's rotations, it's been like the starters and then like a huge chunk of the second unit. And I feel like there was such long stretches without Bam. And I don't know, I guess Tyler is the holdover from the starters to run with the second unit. But when you have lineups, it's, what was it? Duncan, Tyler, J. Rich, Thomas, and
Highsmith.
There's space to get Bam in there, Jimmy or Kyle in there. Like Tyler, I don't think Tyler can be the only, starter in that group, especially now that you took JJ out of that group. I feel like there's too much space of there only being one guy. If Miami has 3, 4, however you want to count Kyle, if Miami has 4 guys, I feel like there was too much space tonight where it was the second unit and one guy, and that one guy was Tyler.
We talked about this before the show. Spo keep trying to make the Tyler Duncan lineups work is maddening. There's over a 2,500 minute sample size, and they've been positive like 1 year, and it was by like 0.2. It's not,
and their roles haven't changed enough for it to try to see if it works now.
And the pieces around them haven't improved enough for them to work either. You mentioned the scoring, like Tyler's improved defensively, to his credit.
He has.
Absolutely. But he can't be the third best defender in a lineup.
No.
And that's the problem. You have to compliment these guys. Like Duncan and should be playing more with Bam. You mentioned I still don't get why we try to go away from the Bam and Jimmy on the floor for so long. Josh just got back last game. He played the last 15 minutes of the game. I don't know why. I love Josh. He should not have been playing 30 minutes this game. Definitely didn't deserve it. Didn't show, like, he was solid defensively, but offensively was just a mess, and they needed scoring. And you could have got a little more from Highsmith. I think you could. I would have even give Hawkins another look, because I feel like he could have provided a little bit more juice offensively, at least moving the ball.
And the interesting thing to me, guys, is that the Nets didn't go big.
Nope.
No.
So
they couldn't.
Am I wrong, or did we really need Thomas Bryant?
No.
Okay, so who instead of Thomas? Where would you have liked to have seen his minutes go, or at least some of his?
You could have gave Jovic those minutes.
You could have given Bam a couple more minutes.
I think
I would have
had more.
Well, I'm gonna say not Bam just because of that hip.
Killer Bam. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no Bam because of that hip. But I would have gave it to Jovic and had Jovic and Hamish as your bigs.
Yeah. I didn't even ask about Jovic because I'm just of the mindset that he just should have played, period. So anywhere that you're taking some minutes from, they can on to him.
Right.
Lando.
Orlando. But I definitely think they didn't go big. So you could have tried to have gone, athletic at least.
So they didn't go big. We talked a little bit about kind of their shooting behind the arc. Where did we let go of the rope? And where was Brooklyn able to just steadily just drip themselves kind of back into this game for either of you?
The bench.
Yeah, I think some of the role players were kind of left out to dry too much, a little too much shooting from some of them. But I mean, Jaquez, Duncan, and Josh were awful tonight. All couldn't shoot the ball. And they were 4 for 36 or quick math, 26. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't win. That's 3 of your main contributors being that inefficient and shooting that much.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it right there. I mean, that's the numbers right there.
I felt like Bam could have shot more too. He only shot 12 shots.
12 shots.
And had a mismatch all night.
Listen, Dorian is my guy. Shout out to Dorian Finney-Smith, Virginia 757. There were times where Brooklyn was playing Doe on Bam, and I felt like Bam should have gotten some post entry, and he should have been able to punish Dorian. Ben is strong. Bam was working. Ben, I feel like there was space within kind of our offensive process. Franky, I wanted to ask you about the process a bit. First half versus kind of second half. I think some of our mistakes were on the defensive end, of course, but
for sure
score, but it's kind of process things. I do personally think how they tried to go about things first half was a bit better versus second. What were your thoughts?
That lineup too, that the Tyler, Duncan, Bryant, Highsmith, J. Rich lineup, they were on the court for such a long time.
That's what I'm saying.
We talked like defensively, they have a lot of issues. Offensively, they didn't shoot the ball well. You had Duncan and Josh alone were bad, and that puts a lot of pressure on Tyler to shoot. And he had to force the issue a little bit more than you would like. But then, especially at the end, Brooklyn started really pushing the pace off makes, off misses, and we couldn't get back. Would not get back. They got so many. We'd hit a 3, and boom, one pass up the court, they hit another 3, and it's washed. And it was just little things like that. Like I felt like Spo stuck with that lineup way too long.
Yeah.
I would much rather have, like, if you don't want to put Jimmy or Bam, give them more minutes, I would rather put Kyle or Jaquez in for Duncan. Like, get another playmaker in there. Let Tyler play secondary off the ball.
Yes.
Let somebody set him up. Kyle's been really solid. You wanted to talk about Kyle.
Yep.
He's been really solid. I really liked his playmaking, his aggressiveness in the pick and roll. Looking for the big man, making the right reads. He only shot 5 times tonight, but I felt he was really solid overall. Defensively, Tiff, you shouted him out. He's one of the best help defenders in the league. Yeah. He's been even better than last year.
Than he usually is,
And he's been just a really good vet. Like, in an ideal world, Kyle would be leading the bench unit. And we would have a starter. But the situation is what it is. I would still like him to play with the bench. We talk about, since he's been here, every time Jimmy or Bam or Tyler miss time, Kyle running with the guys who don't play much, he sets them up. They get career high numbers and scoring. He helps them get a lot of wins. Let Kyle play with the bench a little bit more.
Yeah. Tiff?
No, I agree with everything Franky said. I think you got to figure it out. Even if you start Kyle and you just give him limited minutes with the starters, but you need a surefire ball handler out there with that second unit. But the question is that if you're pulling Duncan, we're relying on the shooting that's on the court.
Yeah,
that's the one thing.
Yeah, I feel that, and I think like you said, Kyle only shot 5 shots tonight, but there's been a spring in his 3. There's all of the shots that he's taken have felt good, and I think that again that second unit just had so much time together. And I think Tyler was the first sub, and J. Rich came in. And given the way that they started, I would have rather liked to see Jaquez or Kyle be the first sub out, so that they could have saw time with that second unit. I think the end of the game, Franky, like you said, like just not getting back. There was a possession, and we're gonna wrap up here soon. There was a possession where we'd gotten a steal. Bam made an outlet. We turned it over.
Yep.
They gave it right back to us. We got the ball. Ami had it in his hand. He turned it over immediately. It was 9 people back on Brooklyn's offensive end in the frame. You know who wasn't? 22. And there's just I don't know. There are holes, there are gaps schematically, and sometimes a little bit with the effort where it just looked a little, just disjointed. And they have to tighten these things up. We've not, we in this build in the Jimmy era, we haven't, other than Duncan's year of just lights out kind of shooting. We're not an offensive juggernaut. We're not a heavy offensive firepower type of team. And so we have to hang our shit on defense. And when the offense isn't offending and the defense isn't defending,
right.
we're just neutral. And I don't know. I thought tonight was a little frustrating. I think they should have pulled that one out and started to feel better about themselves. And I don't know how they feel about themselves, but I didn't like the way the end of this game felt. But I did want to give shouts to Kyle. I think Kyle has been super active and has been noticeable. Like you said, Franky, the help defense, I think the snap in the three, and even if he's not finishing or trying to finish when he's getting in the rim, he's still puncturing defense and is able to bend and kind of pass other guys open who are then able to attack. I think they could have gotten a few more Kyle minutes, but
I mean, he played 30. It just didn't feel like he played 30.
It didn't feel. I'm telling you, that second, man, when the starters go out, the second unit.
It was like they were in there for a half an hour.
It's the whole rest of the first quarter, and then like the first 7 minutes of the second quarter, and then I'm like, God damn, this is a fat ass burger with just all meat. Just give me my bread back.
I truly think that Jovic should have got the Bryant minutes.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing that like he can do. He can get out on the break.
Yeah.
He can make decisions on the break with the ball in his hands. Yep. I feel like that was a point in the game where, because Bryant had some moments, but man, he was getting abused on the court. He was getting straight bullied. Oh. So if you're getting straight bullied on one end, I need you to do something on the other end. You're gonna have you got to make a difference on the other end. And he did not. At the end of the day, he didn't make a difference.
No.
Yeah, it's tough.
And like this was the kind of
it's tough.
That's all I got.
This was the kind of small ball lineup that you think Bryant would be dominating, like in the post.
He's weak though, and I hate saying that. Physically.
Yes.
He's not strong.
If he gets pushed out of his position so far, he's catching that shit by the 3-point line and he's gotta kick it back again.
There's something like you can't just like being big doesn't just necessitate strength. Like you have to actually be strong in the base and in the hips and in
it's true. And you got to play big too.
You got to play big. I thought Bam played big. Tiff, we were talking a bit. Bam played big tonight. Like he felt his presence.
He felt yes.
Yeah.
He felt.
I mean, it might have been the headband. I don't know, but like
the apostrophe am.
Exactly. But he was you felt Bam on both ends of the court. Yeah. And these are the times where it's like you got to win these games.
Yeah. But I'm sorry.
No, go Franky.
But I was gonna say that, like, I defend Bam all the time, but like this is where Bam needs to be a little more aggressive and like, and there were a couple mistakes late, especially he did that shit again, Bond. That you and Tiff are always calling him out for bringing the ball way too low.
Yes, and got stripped.
And that's where most of his turnovers come from
there. Yep.
Just lack of discipline on his technique. And I felt like he could have called for the ball a little bit more, been a little bit more aggressive. He is at his best when he does minimal dribbling, like one dribble, 2 steps, and go strong.
Yes.
And he did that a lot tonight, but I felt like he could have done more.
Franky, to your point about aggressiveness and him kind of speaking up, I think that for me, that's where I want to see him as a leader kind of grow a bit. Captain, right? Newly elected, that's Captain Bam, and when the flow feels off, like when like shit kind of just feels chaotic, and he knows that he hasn't gotten a touch or whatever. Right. I want to see him be a little more demonstrative, or not even necessarily demonstrative, but I want to see him communicating on the floor, like, yo, relax, calm down, move the ball, like, so, I want to feel him settling because he is their hub. He is one of the guys, he's their second, first, however you want to call it, best player. And so I want to see that from him. And I think it will go a long way. Go ahead.
Yeah. And when he got that putback and I thought that was the moment, like it was going to keep coming. Like
and then he went and he faded.
Yeah, and he faded. He started making mistakes. Started turning the ball
Right.
over, and that's something he still has to work on in his maturity and stuff. I like that. I really, we talked about this all last year, but I really like that Bam and Tyler are getting put in these moments time after time. If they're not going to win games, I want to see Bam and Tyler improve, and I feel both of them have, especially Tyler. Tyler's done a lot of improvement. I still think they have ways to go potential wise and decision making wise, but I've been mostly happy with both of their seasons.
Yeah. Tiff, hit on your boy Hamish really quick, and we're gonna head out of here.
I'm just saying, he, coming off an injury, what did he shoot from three? I don't even have the numbers. He had four. He was 3 or 4, huh?
Yeah.
He was 3 or 4. I'm just saying, listen, he's ready. He's taking all the necessary steps. He's showing you know what the defense is. We don't need to talk about it. When he's healthy, we know what it is.
He's starting next game?
He should be.
I'm asking. He should be, yeah.
Please.
I hope so, because they've got to figure out a way to score while having defense on the court. Like this is it. Like we can no longer just still be experimenting with that stage. Like you got to score plus stop somebody. You got to score plus stop somebody. I mean, isn't that how it works? So we got to figure out how to get him more minutes. He's steadily improved. Every game we've seen improvement from him. He's humble and he's doing the work. So I'm hoping he inches his way into that starting lineup. My biggest concern, and it's bigger than what we're looking at right now, is that we have not seen Caleb.
Listen.
That's a concern that we talked about last season at pockets during the entire season. We had that conversation. He looked great in the playoffs, but we also had that conversation that it was going to come again. And now here we are. So I'm really concerned about that knee.
I'm telling y'all, man, it's something to be concerned about. If his play style was anything different, it wouldn't be as bad. But because he is just so springy and so on his toes, that knee is catching hell every time he makes a move.
Should have sold high.
What'd you say?
I should have sold high.
Oh, hey,
love you, Caleb.
Love you.
We love you, Caleb, but I mean,
we need every hand.
Bank account is set up.
I got a checking and no savings. Listen, we're gonna go ahead and head out. What do we have? We have DC first play-in tournament game on Friday. Play in season tournament. That's what this is.
Jordan Poole going for 60.
My God.
And 1 assist.
Are we gonna get Tyler, having to try to prove himself because he lined up against Jay Poole and we about to get
I'm betting the under.
You betting the under by what? How many? 2?
Love talking with you guys as always. Shout out to Heat Beat Tiff. Thank you. Love you. Franky. Thank you. Pablo, the intern. Shout out to you. You're getting better, game by game. That's how you earn your checks around here, son. Keep putting in work.
He's like Pablo alignment. You don't want to hear his name called.
Nope. Right? Pablo on them Jovic minutes.
Pablo out here like Wizard Kelly, just doing all the things we just don't see the face, and that's
just don't even know.
Be a behind the scenes star. Shout out to Pablo.
It's better that way.
Hey, this is Pablo's fault. I mean, you gotta blame somebody. I guess.
I'm blaming G.
I'm blaming G.
It always comes back to G.
Happy belated G.
Happy belated G. Miami has DC on Friday. I'm not sure what the schedule is for the rest of the week. We'll be around. I know Coach Lou Saucy Takes was talking to me about, I think he and Franky, you guys are doing the in-season tournament pod at some point, so be on the lookout for that.
Yes, we're gonna do a preview pod for it. We're off. Hold on, I'm getting the schedule. Yeah, off for the rest of the week.
Boom. Okay. All right, I'll be on the timeline. Tiff, where will you be?
In my house.
I love that as well. Listen, I'm there too. Shit. Franky, where can the people catch you?
Franky G _ on Twitter, where people complain to me about stuff I have no control over. Love y'all.
A lot of that.